Hello everybody, my name is Necroxis here in my weirdly washed out room with my camera. I'm recording this in the morning. I want to talk about Blizzard and the whole gigantic shit show with China and Hong Kong. I don't even know where to begin with this. It's such a complicated situation, so if you're really curious and you haven't heard what I'm talking about, you can go look it up for yourself. In more detail. But essentially what has happened is that a player at a Hearthstone Grandmasters tournament won, and like Blizzard always does with all of their winning players or teams or whatever, at the end, the casters of that game interview the winner for a few seconds. So, this player, whose name is Blitzchung, is a Chinese player from Hong Kong. And he chose to give his interview, and then at the very end, he expressed sympathy, or I guess camaraderie with the people of Hong Kong, based on a very in-depth, complicated political situation going on there, essentially where China and Hong Kong, despite Hong Kong and the rest of China, despite being in the same country, have operated under different governmental rules because Hong Kong used to be owned by England, and that part is like ancillary to this actual story, but even though that's the main important thing. So go look up that whole, again, shit show if you want to know the information about that. But what Blitzchung did is he wore a gas mask, which the people in Hong Kong protesting against what is going on there have worn, and he said, quote, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our times," which is the popular slogan of the protesters. The other two casters who were interviewing him seemed to either have known he was going to say that or kind of goaded him on beforehand, because they basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, say the next 8 words and then we're gonna end the interview. So as Blitzchung was saying this, they ducked under their desk and they're kind of giggling about it. Because they're in Taiwan, which is also related to the overall political story, but I'm not getting into that part here. And essentially, after this happened, Blizzard, and we don't know who made this decision. We don't know if it was Blizzard China. We don't know if it was Blizzard's super high up PR people. But Blizzard made probably the worst decision they could, and it seemed like they tried to make an example out of Blitzchung. So what they did was they rescinded his $10,000 prize. They suspended him from a year. They cut that broadcast off immediately. They censored the broadcast so no one else could watch it again. They've scrubbed it from the internet in all of their official channels, but the internet being the internet and never forgetting, you can find clips of that out there if you want. They are out there. I have seen them. So what Blizzard did is they put out this statement saying, hey, we're going to do this, this, and this. We're taking his $10,000 away. We're suspending him. And they said, the reason we're doing this is because he violated a term in their contract that all their players sign. And this contract states thusly: engaging in any act that, in Blizzard's sole discretion, brings you into public disrepute, offends a portion of or group of the public, or otherwise damages Blizzard's image, will result in removal from Grandmasters and reduction of the player's prize to $0, in addition to other remedies which may be provided under the handbook and Blizzard's website terms. So essentially, they banned him for a year, they took all his prize money away, and they rushed to scrub this from the internet. And what you expect to happen, happened. Everyone kind of lost their shit about it. It's still a developing story. This happened, 2 or 3 days ago? 2 days ago. And there's still new developments happening. We've had everybody from U.S. senators commenting on this, from both parties. We had Ron Wyden from the Democrats and Marco Rubio from the Republicans, both senators on each opposite sides, both coming out condemning this action. The fan base is absolutely pissed off about this, and people are mass uninstalling, mass unsubscribing, mass deleting their games. I've actually seen videos and images of people burning their Blizzard games. people are not happy about it, and Blizzard seems to, for example, yesterday there was a in another Hearthstone tournament, a collegiate one. This team from the American University was versing another team, and they were about to lose. And at the very end, they held up a sign that said, "Free Hong Kong, boycott Blizzard," because of what Blizzard did originally to Blitzchung. So, what Blizzard did was they cut away from that team's camera, they cut away from the game, and then the casters tried to end the game as soon as possible, and their commentary, and Blizzard again scrubbed this from the internet, or tried to. And because Blizzard couldn't help but making things worse, Blizzard China made a comment on an official Chinese, I guess, forum website. I'm not sure entirely what. I believe it's just kind of like a forum posting place called Weibo. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And they posted the following message. This is translated. "We are very angered and disappointed at what happened at the event and do not condone it in any way. We also highly object to the spreading of personal political beliefs in this manner. Effective immediately, we've banned the contestant from the events and terminated work with the broadcasters." Oh, yeah, the broadcasters were also fired. "We will always respect and defend the pride of our country." And when I said Blizzard couldn't help but making this worse, this is how they made it worse. Blizzard Entertainment, Activision Blizzard, is an American-based company. Started in America, they combined in America with Activision. They are an American-based company. The company Activision Blizzard is 5% of it is owned by a huge Chinese gaming conglomerate called Tencent. And Blizzard has begun increasingly working with Chinese developers further on new games, like Diablo Immortal. So there's kind of an almost righteous nationalist fury in, like, I would say a positive way, because I think we think of nationalism as a negative thing, and I would say in virtually every case it is, because it's being used to attack other races and cultures. But in this case, it's almost kind of like Americans coming together being like, "You're censoring people, fuck that shit, we're all against it." And so that's kind of what's happened here. So you've had Blizzard employees protesting out in Blizzard's main HQ. They have a big orc statue right in the middle of their campus. They had a bunch of employees there. What I said was I saw the numbers were over 24 to 30 people, all protesting using umbrellas, which is a direct reference to a protest in Hong Kong in 2014 when the people in Hong Kong were using umbrellas because they were being pepper sprayed by the police, so they were using umbrellas to guard themselves. Blizzard protesters were doing this, employees of Blizzard, in front of the orc statue. Furthermore, on that orc statue is kind of like a circle inscribed rune around the statue with the words "Think globally and every voice matters" inscribed onto those runes, onto the runic circle. And some employees covered both of those up with paper in protest. And I can tell you, because I've been there, I stood on that spot. There's pictures of me when I did my video after I came back from seeing Blizzard, of me standing in front of the statue, taking a selfie with it. It's in the middle of their campus. It's very open, and it's very public. And if you were doing something there, like protesting, everybody could see you doing it. So I gotta give kudos to the Blizzard employees who stood up for freedom of speech to go and do that at risk of losing their job. So, as of this video, no one thus far in America has lost their job because of this. And even that American Hearthstone team that I was talking about, as of this making of this video, also have not been banned or punished for doing this. They were losing the tournament anyway, which is why they did it, because they weren't going to be going forward. But Blizzard is getting worse and worse and worse PR from this. It's been trending since it's happened. I think it's probably still trending now, although I haven't looked in the last couple hours. It's finally fallen off the trending, but originally just Blizzard itself was trending, and then later Boycott Blizzard, or Blizzard Boycott, I forget which one it was. Maybe it was both, was trending after that. People are, like I said, mass unsubscribing. They are doing everything they can to show Blizzard that we are not okay with them kowtowing to a monstrous authoritarian government being upset that they're censoring, that they want a person censored just because they spoke out politically in a way China did not like. And I have to say, I am totally not on Blizzard's side here, and it's the reason that I've been like kind of ranting about this on Twitter for a couple of days now, and I actually lost one longtime follower and subscriber over this, and they basically said like, well, I don't know why you keep talking about this and you're just shit talking Blizzard. No, there's the chasm of difference between criticizing design choices in World of Warcraft that I don't like or agree with, and criticizing Blizzard as a company kowtowing to a Chinese government authoritarian demand for censoring someone's political beliefs. The chasm of difference is just like astronomically infinite. Like these criticisms of WoW's development mean nothing in the scope of something like this. And this is not the actions of the company Blizzard that I fell in love with. This is the actions of a company that's putting money over their morality. And yes, I'm sure there's some people who, in their effort to defend Blizzard, will say, well, Necroxis, you're probably on your computer that was built in China, or your phone was built in China, and you're not forsaking everything else. I find that to be like the most pathetic whataboutism you possibly could do. Yes, it's possible. I can't go to Hong Kong to help protest. I live in America. But I can speak out when I see a company that's American-based doing something to appease a Chinese authoritarian government, hearing something that someone didn't say. It's particularly ironic in spite of the last week's episode of South Park. Well, I guess 2 weeks' episodes now of this video, because the last one was yesterday night. But last week's episode of South Park was exactly about this. Companies kowtowing to China and censoring their products to appease China for money. And it's just so crazy how you have Blizzard and the NBA, which also was caught up in this same thing in the same week, which is crazy. Caught up, in a way, implicitly defending China, or explicitly, I guess. And then you have South Park, which put out their whole satirical episode shit-talking China and shit-talking companies that did stuff like this. South Park has now been banned in China. Matt and Trey Parker came out and said, Matt Stone and Trey Parker came out and said, like, oh, we're so sorry. Like, they put out a sarcastic apology, basically just giving another finger to China. And it's just so crazy when you see two companies over here in the NBA and Blizzard kowtowing to what this disgusting, murderous regime wants people to be censored, versus South Park, which is giving it the middle finger because it believes in, like, free speech. And I gotta say, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here now at the end of people who are, if not explicitly, then implicitly defending Blizzard through what I would consider muddying the water. So let me explain. What's going on here? And I see this from a lot of big content creators, and it really disappoints me. I don't want to name and shame people, but you know a lot of the ones that I would be talking about if I said big WoW content creators are straddling the line here between not being too harsh on Blizzard, but also pretending to stand up for free speech. There's a lot of them, and if you go looking for them online, you can see a lot of them are mealy-mouthed, kind of criticizing Blizzard, but not a lot. But what I'm seeing now is random people who, for a reason that I can't understand beyond just trying to defend Blizzard because they like the company and their products, are saying things like, it's troubling what Blizzard said, but I think that we shouldn't be harassing developers on Twitter or threatening them with violence because of what somebody else did in the corporate company. And it's like, yeah, no shit, no one's actually doing that. I cannot tell you how many people I've seen online or on the forums make this exact argument, like, oh, well, I'm not okay with what Blizzard did, but we really shouldn't be going after developers. Literally nobody is saying we should go be harassing developers of World of Warcraft, or like Christy Golden, or Ian Hazakostas, or, you know, people like that on Twitter. Nobody's saying that, and I've been obsessively looking for people who have been supposedly saying that, and I can't find anybody. I can't find anybody supposedly actually making these threats or making these claims that we should be doing this. the last one that started last night was, I keep seeing people now say, it's really not okay that people are saying we should go, like, they're threatening to go shoot up BlizzCon. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, obviously that's horrible if it's true. I can't find anybody actually saying that. I cannot find a single person saying that they should go to BlizzCon and do this. And it's, what it is it's almost like fake concern trolling or, you know, virtue signaling. And I hate to use the phrase virtue signaling because it's been so ruined by the internet. But the actual definition of what virtue signaling is, I think, is what's going on here. You have people who don't want to criticize Blizzard because they like their products, going around doing this weird muddying of the waters defense by saying, oh, these people are wishing harm on Blizzard developers and they're bad. And then everyone else is like, I agree, those people are bad. They shouldn't be doing that to Blizzard developers. And other people are like, yeah, you're right, those people are bad. And they're like all patting themselves on the back and like a big circle jerk. And what's actually going on here is you're just too cowardly to actually criticize Blizzard, or you don't care enough about this, and you'd rather just blindly be okay with an American company whose product that you like kowtowing to an authoritarian government censoring people, and the company agreeing. And I find that kind of cowardly. I've always been somebody who, for what small amount of power I have, which is not really any, but as a consumer, I have the power with my money, where I spend it, to make choices that more align with my beliefs. And even if I didn't have the money to do that, I could at least use my voice, what little voice I have publicly on the internet. Or even if I was a no one, which I am, even if I had no YouTube channel subscribers or anything. And this is more of a criticism to the big YouTube content creators who are not doing this. I would still be using my voice to say, this is not okay, Blizzard. What you're doing is not okay. And it just drives me absolutely crazy to see people not criticizing Blizzard, but instead muddying the waters with this weird, I'm upset that people are threatening Blizzard employees, when I can't find any evidence of this happening. If you can find evidence of people doing this on the forums or on Twitter, share them, make them public. I want to help you take these people down. They are not okay. If they're saying that we should go harass developers or even do worse things with guns at BlizzCon, publicly name them and shame them so we can report them. And if the threat is credible, contact the police. Like, I want to get these people caught if they're actually real. The problem is, I don't think they are, and I just see people repeating claims that other people have seen other people make, because it makes themselves feel better by patting each other on the back saying, I agree, it's wrong, these people are criticizing Blizzard. I asked 3 different people on Twitter that I saw trending, and I didn't even search them out. It was people that I follow and follow me back, like liking or retweeting these people saying, I can't believe I saw these people threatening Blizzard. And I commented like, who are they? Can you name them? What's the tweet? Could you show me who they are? One person didn't respond. Another person didn't respond. The third person basically said, well, I stopped unfollowing them, so I couldn't find the tweet. And I feel like if I saw someone saying, I'm going to go shoot up someplace, this video is not going to be monetized. Oh well. So if you want to donate to me, I have a PayPal in my YouTube if you want to. But holy shit. And the person was basically like, I don't remember. And I feel like if I would have saw someone say these horrendous things that this person was spreading that they were saying, I would have remembered it. Or at the very least, I could have found it pretty easily. And it's just, I can't find a single example of people doing it. And all I can conclude is the reason people are doing this and saying these things is because they don't want to actually criticize Blizzard. So instead, what they're doing is kind of like a soft defense of Blizzard. And if there's one thing I want people to take away from this video, it's you can like developers. You can like Blizzard's products. I do. I wouldn't be so upset when WoW is being bad if I didn't like their products. You can like the people who make the game. You can like the games. You can like people if you know developers. I know people who know developers. That's not the same thing as criticizing the corporate structure that enabled this to happen. Taryn Gregory is not someone who made this decision. Christy Golden is not someone who made this decision. Ian Hazzikostas, Alex Afrasiabi, everyone who works at Blizzard, at World of Warcraft, or anywhere else in the development part of it, They had nothing to do with this. So it's ridiculous to me that people wouldn't criticize Blizzard under some notion that if I do, it might be seen as I'm criticizing these people. Nobody thinks that I or anybody else who's saying, Blizzard, this is not okay what you've done. No one thinks that what we're actually saying is we're saying, Taryn Gregory, this is your fault. Like, that's such an absurd, fallacious, ridiculous take on the complaint that I have to say, I think people are making it in bad faith because they just want to defend Blizzard or they don't want to actually think about it. And like I said, I kind of find that cowardly, and I would encourage everyone, if you actually care enough about it, to refund your products or to unsubscribe. Unfortunately, like I've said several times, Blizzard has given me 2 free years of subscription time, and another subscriber of mine gave me another year. So I've been subscribed. I'm subscribed until through like September 2020. So, and I've tried and I can't do it. I've tried to like freeze my subscription so I could stop giving them the subscription that other people have given me and paid for me, and I can't do it. So this is what I'm doing with the little power that I have. I'm talking to you. I'm talking on Twitter. And the reason that it pisses me off is I liked 8.2.5. I liked a lot of what I was seeing of 8.3 in the PTR, and I'm excited for what the next expansion is. But I can't be a fan of a product when the company that makes them is doing something like this. Like, I can't square those two things, and it bothers me. It bothers me that Blizzard's terrible decisions are going to taint the company, and they're going to taint BlizzCon. BlizzCon's in 3 weeks. You think this topic's not going to be introduced at some way? All of BlizzCon's going to be different now. There's going to be no live Q&As. There's going to be nobody who can get a mic that's close from the public. The only people that are going to make any public comments at all are going to be highly curated comments, are only going to be developers. We're probably not... I would be shocked at this point if we had like a costume contest or like a singing contest on community night, because people are going to come to BlizzCon now to protest Blizzard to their face at their biggest convention. And by the way, I don't even think people should do it at BlizzCon, because all the people related to Blizzard that are at BlizzCon and all the developers, none of those people there have anything to do with it. So I feel like showing up to do that at BlizzCon is kind of missing the point. You're like targeting the wrong people. You should be going for like the CEO or like Bobby Kotick, like he would do anything, but target your ire toward them and use your online or like political activism to let them know. Don't go to BlizzCon to Blizzard developers who have no say in any of this to try and make your point. I agree that this is fucked up, and I agree that Blizzard shouldn't have done this, and I think that they should reverse it. I do think Blitzchung violated the rules, which I will say, to be fair, he violated the rules, and I think he probably should have gotten like a 3-month ban, but the harsh punishment they gave to him is so over the top compared to every other punishment I've ever seen. I've seen Blizzard take like months and months and months to even dole out a single punishment to players that I've seen that have done way worse things than this. People who have made sexist comments, homophobic comments, transphobic comments. It takes Blizzard so long to punish those professional players. But they punished this guy the same day that it happened. You cannot tell me that they were not trying to make an example out of this kid. And it's crazy to me. They're even going further and doing things like not allowing Hong Kong in your battle tag. Like, there are pictures and proof of that right now. And if you want, you can test it yourself and try to make your BattleNet tag Hong Kong, and they won't let you. Like, they won't let you do it anymore. Blizzard has decided, the corporate masters of Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, have decided to side with an authoritarian Chinese government against free speech. And I don't think that's okay. And I don't think you think I don't think that all of you out there shouldn't think it's okay. I think we all should be protesting in any way that we could, but make sure to use your political activism ire to the right places. If there are people who are mad at Blizzard or Warcraft devs, if you're one of those people in that group that I can't find anyone of, I'll just say to make sure, you're wrong. You shouldn't do it. Don't do that. Go after the right people like Bobby Kotick, people like the CEO of Blizzard, Alan Brack, demand questions of him. Don't go after regular-ass developers or people like Christy Golden on Twitter or anyone else. Like, you're wrong if you do that, and you're hurting your own cause. And if you are one of the people who are peddling this weird fake defense of Blizzard, why? Why are you doing that? Because you're a fan of their content? I think it's pretty clear if they would do this to one of their pro players, if they could make China happy, they would do that to you in a heartbeat. Now, I don't know. I feel like you're doing a disservice to all of us by not speaking up. And that's all I wanted to say on the matter. And it's just, I've been talking about it on Twitter so much that I've just been, and Twitter sucks at doing context or nuance because of their limits. So I figured I'd make this video, and all of y'all can let me know your opinions on it. And like I said, the reason that it's particularly infuriating for me is because I like what Blizzard, what I was doing right now. I liked 8.2.5. I liked a lot of 8.3. I liked it so much that I've lost like 3 longtime subscribers and followers because I wasn't outraged at 8.2.5. I talked about those people when I was bringing up the Night Elves fans going crazy. I lost like longtime fans because I wasn't upset at what was going on. And now I have to be like, oh, I'm so happy with what they're doing at the game finally, but now the company itself is fucking up so terribly that I don't know how to square those two feelings right now. And it's just, I'm angry and I'm upset, and as an American who has grown up with ideals of free speech, and I know our country is not perfect, so I'm not looking to make some political fight in the comments. My basic point is, every country in the world has done shitty things, but all of us little nobodies, like citizens who don't have any political power, all we can do is speak up when we see something being done poorly. And when I see a company that's based in America and from a country that supposedly believes in free speech kowtowing to an authoritarian government wanting to censor people just for expressing a political opinion that they don't agree with, and the company going along with it, I don't think that's okay. You shouldn't think that's okay. And I think everyone should express some level of outrage to Blizzard. And people are. So, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem like Blizzard is interested in giving any kind of response. So, they literally had to do nothing. They could have just given this kid a 3-month ban, and that was it, and nothing happened, and no one would be talking about this. Everyone would be excited for BlizzCon. What are they going to show? What's the new product going to be? I'm so excited. Instead, Blizzard, you done fucked up yourself here, and I don't have any sympathy for you, because what you did was pretty terrible in context of everything going on in the world. You played yourself, and you deserve all the hate you're getting right now. Sorry. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time. Farewell.